Hello, welcome to a Trainz stream. It's been a while since we've had one. However, I have made a lot of progress since then, so the first part of the stream will be showcasing the progress, and then, depending on how much time we have left, we'll also do some building. So, hello in chat. Welcome, Marky. Kangafango, hello. Stanley Ross, welcome. And also, hello, Wasted Tries. Your things look very nice, I must say. Judging by the pictures you sent on Discord, like, you can really immerse yourself in those scenes with the old steamers and the people on horseback and all those things. Very nice. So, this is where... Oh, Eagle! Hello, Slovak Eagle. Welcome. So, this is where we'd pretty much last left off. I'd built this area going around this curve, and beyond this curve there was just a big flat grid land. Initially I wanted to keep that, but I was told that it maybe doesn't look very realistic. So I decided to add some scenery over here after all. So, yeah, this is all new from here going forwards. So you've got a little town up there. And then as you approach, there's this little section here where there's a path that goes along the tracks. Now this path goes all the way up here to some old barrow tombs, where you can see they've got a little ice cream shop or stall, and also they've got an entrance to the barrow if you want to. There's steps going down into it. And this, of course, is placed in a very nice position where the people who are buried here have a great view of the landscape and the ocean, which I'm sure they definitely need. What does it say on the sign on the barrow entrance? Oh, it's just the name. It's just Kelpie Bay Barrows, because Kelpie Bay is this bay over here, and so these are the barrows of that bay. Of course, the people who built them in the Stone Age would have called it something different, probably, but we have no idea what that would be. Right, so this path actually kind of snakes its way behind this derelict signal box, goes up the stairs to this little parking spot. So over here, I mean, like, this is where visitors would maybe park the car and then go on a walk to see the barrows or something like that. And originally I did try having a bus stop up here, but it just didn't look good. It just didn't fit. So there are bus stops over there. Right, so this is where the track splits off. Now let's go along the main line first. So the main line continues this way, through some fields, with a lovely view of the ocean over there. And then as you're approaching here, you can see you've got a quite nice view of the bay, and I'll read a bit of chat first. Yes, Kelpie Bay. Very creative, thank you. Figure 8 around the barrows. Yes. Parking spot needs a sign saying English Heritage member parking only. I mean, maybe, but I'm not sure. Perhaps. It would be a funny thing to put in. And probably realistic too, but I'm not sure if I want to spend the time to make a sign like that for this. But it's a nice suggestion, and I might make that sign, because then I could use it on other similar sites as well. Did you try having a bus stop by the building too? Or only on the other side? Oh, you mean over here? I didn't try having one here, but it wouldn't really feel right. Because, like, there's probably a bus stop over here. I just haven't modeled it because it's too far away. But there's probably one over by these houses. And then there's definitely one over there. So it's not far to walk either way. Plus you've got the special path to walk here from the town, so you can get there quite easily. So, right, you continue on. You can also already see some cranes from the harbour in the distance. You pass some Queen Anne's lace and an old tractor and some sheep. And there are loads and loads of little scenes that are built into the town here, where, like for example here, this taxi that's just come over to this pub from who knows where. And also, the town kind of grew into this area, and we'll get to that a bit later. VC stream today. I mean, if you want to hop in VC, I'd be open to that, but it's nice having someone in VC, but it's not something that's necessary. But if you would like to, then yeah, I'm open for that. So, right, coming in here, and past some houses, and then over here's a little new development where they put up a sound barrier, because for the new development they decided, okay, well, we might as well put up a sound barrier. But for the old stuff, that money hasn't been found yet, so they've just got a fence and a hedge. Right, so then we go under this bridge, and there's an Easter egg somewhere over here that I have shown Slovak Eagle, but well, I'm not sure if the others have already seen it or not. You might have, as I'm flying around. Right, so then continues through here, and here it splits off again. And also one thing that I have put in several areas is like filling these little awkward areas with just garages, because it allows you to look over the top of it so you can see the front sides of the buildings, and it also adds a bit of variation. Right, so there's a footbridge here, of course, and a little church with some graves around the back. And then let's continue straight on again. I did have a little kind of wooded strip along here with some trees, but I decided to put these big houses on the left so that it's clear that you're still in the town, and you've got just basically a little green area between, so you're not actually going into the countryside, you're still in the town. This garage seemed really shorter than doors. The doors open outward, like they don't roll up. You take them and you open them outward, and you've got plenty of space in there for, like, if I take I don't know, can I get a car? Oh, hold on. Yeah, just like that. There's plenty of space. Too tight, obviously. Yeah, that's fine. No worries. I mean the house doors. House doors? What do you mean? Which one? Oh, do you mean this? Do you mean this? I assumed the garage goes further back under the house, like this area would be garage. Not just this tiny little space trap. Would be funny though. Right, so continuing on, we'll go to the side afterwards. Here you can already see the station in the distance. So as you approach, I've left some gaps where you can see the houses, and I've added a little bit of hills around here so that you can actually see some more of the buildings in the distance. Go past the signal box, and here I put a bus down here just to show that there is actually space for a double-decker to fit through, and I do want to place some of these around, or maybe have invisible tracks to have them drive around for sessions. We'll see. Also here I used my bin assets again for this little area there. And there's loads of little scenes around here. I won't be able to show them all because that would take far too long, but Yeah, and then this 4-lane road that comes down and parallels the tracks for a bit. And then we get to the station. So you've got an underpass entrance here, and also down there. Don't look too closely at the grass, but that's just so you can cross from one side to the other and can quickly get to the station from here as well. So you don't have to walk all the way down here, go underneath and all the way back. No yellow lines in that station. I mean, the through tracks are in the middle, so trains have to slow down to 25 miles per hour anyway when they go off to the side. Are the yellow lines strictly necessary for that, even if the actual line goes straight through? Because you do still have the difference in material. It's not just the tarmac that goes to the edge. You've got the tarmac, and then you've got the flagstones. Like, I was assuming that the edge between the two is like the dividing line of you shouldn't stand forward of this. But please correct me if that's wrong. If I do need the ones with the lines here as well. Right. So then you come in here. We've got this lovely little roofed section. We can look out over the road access to the platform. We've got a footbridge with elevators. Also, working clock asset put in there. Then over on this side, you've got some apartments where they've got little flower gardens. And also the benches for the people who want to look at the trains. White line missed it. Well, like this, because the main line goes in the middle, and then you've got the lines for the platform on the side with a 25 mile per hour speed limit. And at the moment, I've got the platform edges like this. So you've got the white flagstones and then the tarmac. And Kango said that it doesn't have a yellow line, but I thought that this was the kind of the divider. Like, you shouldn't stand forward of this line. But if that's incorrect, then please let me know. Wonder how the clock actually works. An animation that tests a whole day? I don't know. I've not tested it. I mean, I didn't look in the code, but if you want to know what it's called, it's called station clock, and then in brackets suspended. A quick Google search of purely station shows that it has a yellow line despite the obvious change. Lasts. Oh, alright. So yeah, put a yellow line in there. I'm not sure that it's always the case though. I'll have to look at some more stations. Also you can clock the underpass station entrance thingy off with the pure black wall. Yeah. So does Dolchwarn. Interesting. Right. So I got some more garages here, and then of course the zebra crossings. Lovely little park here with a pool in the middle, and then at the end of the station, this is where sessions will terminate, because the line goes forward, but that goes off the map. So on the side, you've got, of course, a roundabout and superstore. You've got some construction going on over here, and also over on this side. So you can see the foundations and the crane, and they had dug out the pit, but then they had a bit of a earth slide onto the foundations, and now they've got a digger and a lorry to clean that up before they can resume building stuff. Cool. I will look up that clock asset. Animation is my weakest skill. Can't get it right even on simple stuff. It's definitely something that takes practice. Clubbing Junction has a 2. Toulouse Hill as well. Toulouse Hill actually Tools Hill actually has a massive thick yellow line. Yeah. Milton Keynes too. Yeah, in that case I'll probably replace it. Although there are some areas that I do want to have a look at myself as well. Tulls. Oh, Tulls. That's how it's pronounced. Interesting. Trainz, will you put cars around the Tesco? Also bus top shelters for shopping carts? I'll probably put some cars around, but it's not meant to be that closely inspected because this is the edge of the world. But I'll probably put some cars around there. Milton actually has a hash on the edge. Ah, interesting. Right, so now let's go back the other way. So if you start here and then you go this way, that's what it looks like this. And also I did do the same thing that you did on your route, Eagle, with some of the fields where it kind of, on the edges, the direction changes, and it does add quite a lot. Ah, interesting. Yeah, that sort of pattern, interesting. Right, and then you get a reveal of the other signal there as you pass underneath. And then come out here to where the bay is. Right. So now let's take this diverging route first. So this is really tucked away quite nicely, and I really love how cozy this feels, this junction area. So this branches off and has a fairly steep decline. It's not very steep, but it's fairly steep. So then this curves around here, past the road that goes up to the barrows as well for road access. Also, there's a cow here that observes passers-by, totally not threatening at all. So then passes through, and this little hamlet here, these few houses, is the, oh yeah, bull, true. I should have said cattle. This is the old town. Oh, and I've just noticed that this needs some paths still. Hold on, I'll quickly add those, because apparently I had forgotten to add these. 1 second. Aha, we did get to some building. I knew we would-ish. And I'll quickly add a little bit of hedge along here as well. 1 second. Yeah, I've done a lot of this over the past couple of weeks. And we'll just add a couple more back here as well. Over here I will just quickly add the paths, and then I'll go back to, oh, that's also slightly floating, hold on. Then I'll go back to showcasing what I've done. Oh, that's not going to work. There's windows there. Yeah, that'll work. Then over here, I'm not sure if I'm gonna. I might add another couple of buildings around here. We'll see. Oh, actually, I'll add a little parking spot just over here, like that. And then I might add another little building in here or something. Anyway, save. Bow, cull, driveway. Right. Yeah, so these houses, that's an old hamlet over here. You can tell by the old architecture. So this has been here a long, long time. And they even added a little bump here where the roots of the tree pushed up the pavement a little bit. So these are all old houses. Oh, I need to do a little bit more work here as well. Never mind, I'll do that later. So, yeah, that's all old stuff. Then you go underneath this bridge, which gives access to these fields. And then you get to a newly built area, where previously this was just fields, but this has been rezoned for residential. And so they just built a whole lot of the same bungalow around here to fill this zone in, planted some palm trees, and also added a sound barrier. Then we get to a nice crossing. Whoa, palm trees! Yeah, you do tend to see palm trees quite a bit in the southwest of England. You get a little crossing. Or actually I might replace these with the other signals that work a little bit better. And also there's a public footpath here that goes down to the beach. Got some sheep around. And I do actually signpost my public footpaths. So you've got that there, and then you've got a sign there that points in this direction, this towel going off onto the field, and then that goes around here, through here underneath the tree, and then onto the road there. Anyway, yeah, so then we pass some houses that are a little bit older that were just along this main road, but these buildings around here have been newly built as well. Got some nice gardens, another palm tree, and here we've got a bus stop with a bin, and also the bus stop on the other direction. And then, by the way, lovely house assets. Lovely house assets. Yeah, then this curves around here, revealing the bay, and the cranes in the distance. And then, because a lot of this has been recently rezoned, you've still got some fields around here. Like you've got this field there, and then you've got this field behind the houses, where little bits of it have been rezoned here, including this block. And also, there's still a little farm over here, and also this building used to be a farm, that are now just kind of in the middle of the residential area, whereas previously they were out in the fields on the edge of town, but the town has grown, and so here we are. So, yeah, continue on. Some little shops in the corner, and then we get to the harbor area. This is access to the beach and the kind of this scrubland area if needed. So, let me read. Bow as in to, bow as into bow and respect, brands like cow. Oh, I see. Used to be fields, then someone got out their green highlighter and boom, residential district. Yeah, and it made a very satisfying plonking noise, I'm sure. Right, so then we've got the harbour. We've got some old sidings here, some sheds, things, and here we have a nice kind of residential courtyard area with a little kind of park in the middle. Then we've got this residential apartment block as well, which they've tried to pretty up a little bit with some flowers. I'm not sure if it's worked that much, but I'll let you decide that. And then we get into this area, and a lot of this is still blank over here. I might add a little bit more clutter around here if it makes it look more realistic, but I looked at some reference material, and a lot of the area, like around Southampton, or Portsmouth, does look just empty. Right, and here we've got a class 66 with some empty UK flat car assets, and these ones are coupled in sets. I think in sets of 5, I think, yeah. So we've got this one, which has the coupler for the loco, and then we've got 3 in the middle that are permanently coupled. And then we've got another set of 5 that are coupled, and so on. Love me some fireweed. A lot of the real world is unrealistically lacking in clutter. True. Right, and then we've got some trucks over here, some old factories that once produced things but now are either abandoned or repurposed. And then we've got this train which is animated, which loads or unloads the container ship. And we've got the multiple industry loaders down here. And at the moment, I think I want the target, the destination of this stuff to be up here in the city, so that you take the main line and then go up through the forest and then over here and then past 3 bridges, you turn left and then go over onto the unloading area up there. Like that's the plan at the moment. Yeah, so you've got this car park over here. And then here's where it gets interesting. So let's go back over to the main line and have a look at the other branch next, because it'll join back up. So the main line that's come from down over there comes into town, crosses over, and then it immediately kind of splits again. Also, one thing that I have done in this is, again, I've kind of alternated between having houses run parallel with the tracks like this and having them at right angles with the tracks like this, because that just adds a bit more variety. And even if you don't notice it, it definitely makes it feel more realistic and more interesting. So here, the left track is electrified, because that's where the electric trains are going to go down to the other station. The right track is not electrified. So we'll follow the left track first. Get a little playground here. Goes down through here. We've got one crossing there. Then we get into a little bit of a shopping area over here. And there are shops along here as well. Then we get to another crossing where actually this is one thing that I don't know how they did it, but if you look over in this window, you can see that the author of this building actually managed to get real-time reflections working on the glass. Like, you can see the car reflected there. I have no idea how they did it, but I would love to see more assets use real-time reflections like this, because it doesn't even seem to impact performance either. But yeah, that's such a nice detail. I would love to know how they did that. Reflections, ask Zephic. Oh. Okay, good. Right, so then we get to this park where, well, here's one thing that I haven't mentioned before, but you might have already, yes, me too. Yeah, gasps in unison, yeah. One thing that you might have spotted before, I'm not sure if you did, you might not have. Oh, and I need to fill in this little area still as well. Is also the reflection in that window is not of the car. What do you mean? It is. It's both. They're both silvery cars facing to the right. Of course, it's a reflection of the car. Yeah, you've got the car there, kind of silvery looking that way. You've got a car kind of silvery looking that way. It's the same, of course. Which is trams. So I haven't put up the catenary yet because I don't know which assets to use for that. Ideally, I would like to have maybe put the cat on the opposite side, maybe? What do you mean? The wrong Ford. Down Blackpool Route? Ooh, maybe. Oh, you mean put this on the other side? No, it's too large. The car would be too large on there. It wouldn't fit. So I did have a look at the Seaton tramway, but some of the assets are missing on that. I would love to use some of those double-decker trams on here, but I just don't know which type of catenary to use. Because these actually go past the station here, and at this point they just go off in that direction, but they go past the station here, go down through the shopping area here, and then they cross through this park along the tracks there. We've got another crossing, and then they come along here and also past this station, which of course is the terminus for the other little branch that goes down to the docks. So the trams actually turn here and go left that way. I might need to change the angle of this if this is a bit too sharp. It might be, but we'll see if that is too sharp or not. So yeah, we've got this station here, end station. The electrification is only on the main line through here, but there is also a runaround track and an engine shed with a coal loader for like historic like railway tours with steam engines and things like that, a water tower as well, signal box. Over here, the tracks do actually go over and cross over here, we'll get to that in a moment, onto this quay, where you've got ferry access as well. This used to be used to transfer cargo to and from boats, but of course that's not the case anymore. That is awfully sharp. Yeah, I will probably change the sharpness of this curve when I put the actual trams on and I see what it actually looks like with a tram running on it. Animated ferries too in sessions? Maybe, I don't know yet. And here, this is the closest we get to the rest of the coast over here. So if you follow this along a bit, you get the dry docks, which I'm really glad that these assets exist in Trainz. And they're aligned on the grid so that it works with the water properly. Yeah, and then you've got some old factory buildings along here with some more apartments next to them, and then the bay just continuing off that way. Yeah, and then you have this track which gives access, rail access to the dry docks, and it does a little bit of street running along here and joins in to where the harbour is right there. Now on to now that we've done that. Also, actually, one more thing. I do like having this contrast. We've got this old building which has probably been here for hundreds of years, and then we've got this new apartment concrete block around here which has probably been here for actually probably like maybe 50 or 60 years at this point, but something like that. And they've got more older things back here, like a hotel. We've got this kind of throttle in the roadway along there. Some old factories that have been converted to apartments and stuff like that. But it makes it feel like it's got history, and it also makes it feel a bit more modern. Even if it isn't pretty, I do like having it that way. And I have considered it carefully, and I have looked at it from many different angles, and I'm confident that this is the best for this location in the route. So, now back over to here where we had previously come through the harbour. So, if we go... Actually, I'll just rechat first. Drydock works so well. I do like the colors on the modern apartment block. Definitely a cool mix of assets. Very nice. Thank you. So, yeah, we've got access to the turntable as well from both sides. And then we have the old station here, which uses the overgrown assets and the shelter. And this line goes past here and then actually starts a little street running section where it begins like this. And I have actually looked at reference material about this. I've looked at the old Weymouth street running section and stuff like that. So yeah, this goes over here, and I might replace some of the car assets going along here. We'll see. I want to see what performance is like first, but right. So street running through here, along the curve, And yes, this did take quite a while to put all these on, especially since it's on an upward grade, but I think it works quite nicely. And it goes over here where the street running ends. And here you can see the other crossing, because this line then just merges back in with the other line. So you've essentially got these two paralleling lines going through here. And the... I know that it might seem a little unrealistic to keep the street running section if you've already got a line that doesn't have it, and they're both accessible from either end. But my reasoning for that was that originally you had the street running section, that was the first line that was built, and then when they wanted to that was back when this station was the main station over here by the harbor. But then when capacity for the cargo trains increased, that led to scheduling issues with passenger trains as well. Plus with the electrification coming in, they decided to make this new line and build a new station down here that's got some electrification on it. And then that's when this station got abandoned. But then they kept this line to alleviate the conflict between passenger and freight, especially since this goes uphill and freight trains might take quite a while to go up there to join the main line. I know it might not be flawless, but it's good enough. Yeah, I will put station signs. Like, most of my stations don't have any furniture yet. That's something I'll add on a pass later on. Right, Eagle says, actually, Kango says, but it does look weirdly dark on this seaward side. What? Oh, what do you mean? Oh, you mean this? Yeah, don't look at it too closely. Eagle says, if you want... as long as the catenary isn't missing on the Seaton tramway, it should work still. I think that it was missing on the Seaton tramway. At least the supports were, I think. Eagle says, if you want modern trams, I used to have a good one, just need to find it again. Yeah, I think that I will probably want it to be more historic. I do think that I want the historic trams on here, more so than modern ones. Citalis? Blackpool, yes, Citalis? I don't know. Hey, you should put station signs. Yeah, already addressed that. Right, so yeah, you've got these two paralleling lines that go up here, join back up there. Because for the freight stuff, it's basically a loop that I've got. So you've got the steeper line over here, so the empty freight trains come along here, take this kind of slaloming line down here, and then go over here, get loaded, and then they could either run around and go back the way they came, or they could take either of these two lines to go around here, which is the less steep line, and then get on the main line there and then go back to when they need to go. I had one themed as Nottingham Metro, I think. It was a 3-section tram. Interesting. Can't find the actual asset for now. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's going to be quite a while until I need that anyway. Right, so actually I will quickly show you this line going the other way because it's got some very nice views as well of the coast. Going up this way. And then you can see the beach there with some seagrass on it, or well, beach grass on it. Yeah, and then it just basically joins into here. So that's the first kind of area that I've worked on since the end of last stream. The second thing I did was electrification. So I obviously added electrification on all of this new bit that's supposed to have it. So not this line, but all the other lines that are supposed to have it down here. So now all of this has new electrification, which it didn't before. So all of this line as well, going through the tunnel. And yes, this was annoying to do in the tunnel, but it did work. It is aligned. So all of this is now electrified. Going along here. All the way up to mid-switch. And the electrification from this point forward was already done before. The second area where I added electrification was over here, where it branches off to Sorbmouth. So all this electrification here is new. All the way along here. Over this bridge. Through here, through the tunnel. Again, really annoying doing that bit, but it's done. And then along the coast and the seawall, this electrification is all new as well. And yes, some of these curves really, the thing is, with some of these curves, especially if there's like, well, not so much on this curve, but especially if there's like a junction in or near the curve, then you really do have to do it just tiny little bit by tiny little bit, the junctions. I'm not sure if I can find a good example over here anywhere. No, not over here. But you've got to like really do it tiny bit by tiny bit and align each individual point to the train's shoe, like pickup shoe, to make sure that it actually stays on there. Anyway, so the electrification on this little bit was already done up to around here. From here it's new again. So again, through another tunnel, again, annoying, but it's done. This is all new as well, the electrification. Down here. Through here. And here I did already have electrification, but this was the first, like this is the first baseboard I made. And so this is the first electrification I put down, and because of that, it really wasn't aligned very well, because I found out only later that the best way to align these points in Surveyor 2.0, if you select the individual spline point and then zoom into the walking around mode, so you can get as close as possible and then move it as gently to align it as best as possible. And sometimes if you've got like a straight section that's on a long curve, you need to use the numbers in Surveyor 2.0 to move the spline point exactly, and then do that while having the train on the curve to see how the alignment changes if you change the position all the way on the straight bit to where the curve is. Anyway, so I basically redid the electrification on this whole stretch around here. I didn't get around to updating some of the town here yet, but that will come probably. So all of this, update as well, through the tunnel. I also did not get around to redoing the junction here yet to allow for higher speeds, but that will definitely come. So I did not update the electrification on this stretch yet, because that comes afterwards. I did, however, do it on this stretch down here, because down here all this electrification is new as well. So running through here, again through more tunnels. And then over here, I've started doing the electrification on this coach yard depot area. I've done parts of it, but not the whole thing. So all the way along here, all still new. Going under here, along this way. So yeah, all of this did not have electrification before, but it does now. Oh yeah, here's a good example. So because this third rail goes into a curve, but so it has to end in the curve. Because normally, when you... Actually, I might as well quickly show you this if you haven't, because if you might not have played Trainz before. So, say I have a section of track like this, and then it goes around a curve, and then I've got a bit of track like that. If these two sections are straightened, then the curve will have a specific shape to it, like this. Now, if I take a spline, like for example the third rail spline, then actually I'm gonna quickly change the limit contextual information. Yeah, so then if I add it over here and make it parallel to the spline points on the track, so if I line them sort of like that, and then like that, and then I also make sure to straighten these bits, then those two things will be pretty much aligned. Of course, you'd have to do it much more precisely with actually positioning these points and putting a train on here. Like, I use, basically what I do is I put the train here so that the spline point's on where the shoes are. Then I select the spline point, zoom in, and then very, very carefully move it to the side so that it's just about aligned with the shoes. And then you have to do that per spline point. So like this, it works fairly easily. Now the trouble starts when you've got something like this, where you've got a junction. Of course, don't mind that, that's just because of the hill. Hold on. 1 second, I've got a... I should have really done this on a more flat area. Hold on. Let me just quickly, very quickly update this. Right, yeah, so this is where the issues start. Because obviously you don't want the third rail to go over the junction like that. So then you've got to delete a section of the third rail. And so you can add a spline point here. And then this whole section of third rail you can just delete. But now the curve is no longer connected to a straight section of track. And so now it's no longer aligned, which means you need to add a new straight section of track along here. So add a straight section there, and then you have to move this over, so it's sort of aligned. But in most cases, when you've got a curve like this, the alignment won't be exact, because you've got a straight section here, whereas on the track it's actually curving. And in big curves, that starts to add up, which means if you put a train along here, halfway along the curve, you won't be able to get it to align with the brake shoe here. Or if you do move it and it aligns, then if you move it to the beginning or the end of the curve, then it no longer aligns. So, add an invisible track in the gap. Just the fact of having a spline point there, which the invisible, spline would attach to, is already enough to mess up the alignment on the curve. Because if I have, like for example, if I have a, I'm just going to do a really strong example here. So I've got this track here, which has a curve, and now I'm just going to copy the track just a little bit, have it overlap, just so you can see the difference. If I take one of these tracks and then add a spline point in there, you can see that now it's no longer parallel with each other. Like on a larger curve, this is much more pronounced, but here the tracks are much closer and here they're further away, and then it's kind of wobbly. It doesn't keep the alignment. So unfortunately, that does not work. Yeah. So then you've got this little straight piece of track, but then the curve isn't aligned anymore. So then what you have to do is figure out where the center of it is. So right there, which is actually a little trick in Server 2.0. If you hold right click over a spline, you move the selection point. But if you move close to the beginning or ending of the spline, it puts the selection point in the middle of the spline like that. So then if you go here, insert spline point, by the way, I've bound this context menu to space for easy access. Then you've cut the spline in half. Now you've got this new spline point here, which is not aligned. So then you've got to take the train, put it over, align the pickup shoe with it, then zoom in as far as you can, align that a little as much as align that point, but then you'll have the same issue with this section of curve and this section of curve. So then you've got to repeat the process. You've got to add a spline point there, halving that, putting it on, halving that, putting it on, until you've got like really short sections of spline, and do that the entire length of the curve until you get to the next straight section of third rail. And that's the only way that you can actually align the third rail in a curve where it ends in the curve, which annoyingly happens a lot on my route. So yeah, just thought I'd do a little demonstration for you there, because over here is one of those instances where the third rails end in a curve, and you can see I've had to cut them into little sections going all the way down there. Anyway, back to where I put the... I'll reach out in a bit, don't worry. Yes, I put the third rail in here. Oh, also another thing that I found, sorry, is that with the procedural tracks, that also messes things up a little bit, because you've got these procedural junctions here where the track going straight across is level, but the track diverging goes onto a downward grade. And so this track, so if I have this curving track here, and then I put a third rail that's exactly matching the spline points, and it goes all the way to the straight section, so it should identically match it, then the height will vary. Like the tracks will be higher than the spline, because with the procedural junctions, Trainz brings the rails up so that they match the height of the track that they're merging in with at the point where where they cross over, which means that the actual spline thinks it should begin going down here where the spline point is, whereas the actual tracks only begin to go down back here, which will then lead to misalignments later on, which means on these particular curves, I've had to also vertically align each and every one of those spline points. No, they don't. Yeah, they do. I've tested it. Because on here, these ones that go into the junctions, no, they do align, they do change the height. Because on this one, I had the misalignment issues vertically, whereas on the parallel track, which does not have the junctions, it does not have the issue. I did some tests on this. Of course, I mean, yeah, they have a limit on gradient which they can generate. Yeah, that's true. They do have that limit, but there is a bit of correction that it does. Because, well, actually, we can do a little test over here. Again, hold on. Let me see if I can actually find a flat area. I only know Trainz remove super elevation. Yeah, that too. So let's say I give myself a really long, well, that's a bit too long. Well, actually no, that is a line like that. So looking here, you can see those two tracks, like coming into the point, they're on the same level. if I ever so slowly increase this height just to the edge of where it works, just like that, the main track now goes up. Oh, that's weird. Ooh, actually, maybe because it's not... That's strange. It's not aligned here with height-wise. I'm not sure why it isn't that. I did this exact test before, and it did change the height. Maybe that's a bit too extreme? That's very strange. It doesn't seem to be changing the height there. But I thought that it did. Because why else would I have had the issues here with a vertical alignment change? Because I went through, so over here, the tracks have the long curve going all the way here, and the paralleling tracks as well. So I aligned the third rail exactly with this spline point here, going all the way back to here. So I had a really long straight section attaching here, and a really long straight section attaching over here. And then I aligned these exactly, horizontally and vertically. And I did that on the track that goes into the junction and the track that does not go into the junction. And on the track that does go into the junction, halfway along the curve, there was a discrepancy between the height of the tracks and the height of the third rail, even though I matched the numbers exactly on all of the spline points. So height-wise, the tracks and the third rail splines were, all the spline points were exactly the same, and like on the horizontal plane, they were also perfectly aligned, but vertically they were not. Over here, on the track that doesn't go into the junction, I did all the exact same things, and here it was perfectly aligned vertically as well. Just the ones with the junctions, it wasn't. And if it doesn't pull the tracks up to match with the procedural junctions, then I have no idea what caused that, because that is the only difference between the two. Maybe it does it very slightly. Maybe it just does it very, very slightly. Maybe because it's such a long curve, like this, maybe such a long curve, maybe it does some rounding off of like decimal points in regards to vertical alignment with the procedural junctions. And maybe that's what caused it. Maybe it doesn't actually change the height to align to it. Maybe it just rounds off some stuff. Everything is bound, Trainz is incapable and capable of perfect alignment to an extent. Everything is bound to a grid movement. Yes, I know. I know it is. That wasn't the issue here, though. Because on both of these, I had the alignment issues going into the junction, and on both of these that aren't going into the junction, it was perfect. And like, I could move the spline points up and down with the numbers to such a fine extent that I could manually fix the alignment height in the middle of the curve, but then it wasn't aligned near the ends of the curves anymore. Yeah, but then it's possible you simply did not have the third rail aligned perfectly. I did. It's perfectly, like, the thing is, I put the train in the middle of the curve where it wasn't aligned, changed the height so that it was aligned, then I went to this point, and it wasn't aligned over here anymore, and it wasn't aligned over here anymore. It was very strange. That's what led me to conclude that the height changes going into the junctions, because that was the only explanation I had. Oldest unread message, 2142. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's turned off the timestamps. Yeah, I'll read the thing. 2142. I can have a look for Trainz too. Ah, yes. Silversmith made some great ones. European Peachgrass 2. 1. Omzi 2. Editor flashbacks, yeah. Dong, yeah. May need another dig hole through the tunnel. Bit of the trains poking through still. Oh? Where? Which tunnel do you mean? Sorry. That's a bit out. Do you mean... Oh, there were quite a few of them. I don't know which one you meant. I'm quickly going to fly through so you can tell me which one it was. So just tell me which number it was. So this is number 1. Then we have number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. So those are all the tunnels I have here. So let me know which one you meant. Oh, there are KYDs. Let's have a look. Ah, I see. Might as well download them. My above tunnel comment was referring to the first one out of Frenchport. Oh, that one. Oh, well, there you go. This one. Oh, that on the side. Ah. Hold on. I don't think I'll need a new dig hole. I think I can just fix that with... Oh yeah, the terrain should have... I don't know why the terrain alignment changed. Shouldn't have been like that. It should have been coming out over a little bit more like that. There we go. Maybe I accidentally modified it slightly. Hold on, let me just quickly double check something. No, that's fine. Okay, there you go. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, it's fine. Alright. A 465 in Trainz, it's so detailed. Wonderful Dealers is practically 2D. Yeah, it's not finished yet. Whoever made that brilliant model. Yeah, I wonder. Is it on the DLS? I must know. Not yet, but it will be when I finished it. Right. Yeah. Wobbly wobbly, trainee, really stuff. Yeah. Extreme close up. Wow. Oh yeah, Wayne's World reference. So detailed. Wow. Where was I? They do though, don't they? Scouse accent. I don't know how to do a Scouse accent. Right. Yeah, everything is bound to a grid, I know. Right. That is also the thing, because of how splines work in the game. If you have a spline that you need to align in a turn, especially on a hill, it is nearly impossible to match, because Train can read only 3 decimal points. Well, it was quite a large gap. It was quite a large gap. Actually, hold on. I've had an idea. Well, why don't I see about replicating it just on here? because I might as well see about that. Hold on. If the issue doesn't appear now, then I have no idea what happened. Actually, these two are perfectly aligned. Like, this is just an empty spline point in a completely straight track. Like, this straight and this straight are perfectly aligned. Let's double check. So let me just quickly place that. I'll just move that so that it is aligned like that. I'll get the number, which, yeah, that's just height 0 over here. So there aren't any decimal issues on this, at least. Over here it's height 0 as well. Okay, that's actually aligned already. So then let's do the, actually I need to straighten that. And then I need to put the other spline point in up here, and then I'll put a spline point in over there. Straighten that. And just make that as straight as I can, or as aligned as I can. That's, well, I can get it a little bit closer. There we go. And then over here, and I just need to make sure the verticality is matched. Okay, so also, just because these long straight sections are so long, I will put the train in the middle of it and test to see if it is still aligned. So yep, it's aligned here, which means this is actually straight. Now I'll put it in the middle of this long section, see if it's aligned. Yep, it's aligned, so that's all straight. Now I just need to make sure that the vertical thing is set. So this is 344, which is a number that I've actually typed in, height 344. So that doesn't have any rounding issues either. So there we go. So this should hold on, it doesn't actually update to make them fixed height if you just type the same number in. Hold on. There we go. So this should now be perfectly aligned. But if I put the train on here, see the third rail is far too high. Over on this side where I fixed it, it's riding nicely on the third rail, the shoe. Over on this side where I didn't fix it, look at the vertical height difference here. The actual thing, it's floating above the sleepers. Do you see that? Like the actual shoe is down there, but it should be on top, even though I set the vertical height over there both the same, over there both the same. Over there it's height 0 meters, up there it's height 3 meters 44. And those are numbers I typed in both on the track and on the third rail, so no decimal rounding on those places. And this issue only occurs on these two tracks that go into the junction, not on these two tracks. See over here, I've got the third rail in the same one huge spline. So over here where it's fixed, I had to separate it into tiny little splines. Over here where it's this one huge spline, if I put it over there, zoom in, you can see the height is fine. So on the tracks where it doesn't go into a junction, it's fine. On the ones where it does, both of them, you get this huge discrepancy. So, right, time to read chat. But tracks are in millions decimal points. Already said which one. Beneath each message. Oh yes. So essentially it will always be a rounding and position error. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I fixed it. Yes. Wayne's World, yes. Hey, if you keep it on, this random bit of track would be the only one with 2 third rails. Ha! Yeah, not gonna have that. Nice Easter egg thing. Yeah, it's honestly staggering. Because it's a vertical curve as well. I'm smelling something fishy on this. Yeah, like the only explanation I could come up with is that the tracks are somehow aligned different vertically because of the junction, rather than, like, actually, yeah, if I put it over here, nearer the junction, you can see how extreme the vertical misalignment is. Look at how far, like, just look at that gap where it's floating there. If I put the car right next to the junction, look at how huge that vertical misalignment is still, right on the junction, basically. Then if I move it a little bit further, so that it's on the actual spline point, here it's perfectly aligned. To illustrate this point further, I can actually quickly hop into driver and run down the track, and then you can see how differently it's aligning. It's because of vertical curve as well. That's what I think the issue is. No, because it's only where it runs into the junction. On the other 2 tracks that are right next to it that do not run into a junction, those don't have the issue. Just the ones that run into the junctions. Odd, smells chippy to me. Haha, yeah, fish and chips. 2044 message. 2244 message. What? 2244 message, we're not, or 14 message, sorry. Oh, I already got it, yeah. Okay, so also I do have these handy exterior views on the interior. So now let's run down this track. So here it's aligned quite well vertically. Then as soon as you run over the spline point with the junction, it starts to misalign. There you go. See? See how extreme the misalignment gets? And no, it's not because of super elevation, because it runs into the thing. It doesn't have a super elevation anyway. Right? And then the misalignment becomes less and less and less again, all the way until the curve ends, which it's about to here, and there the alignment, the vertical alignment is fine again. So, yeah. And I've only ever had that happen on those 2 tracks. But that's also the only time, I think, where I have a curve leading straight into a junction that also has a vertical grade going into the junction. And then actually, just for completeness' sake, actually I can just go into driver like this. Haha. Just for completeness' sake, over here, so this is the paralleling tracks that do not lead into the junction, but they still have that huge one spline going all the way through on both the tracks and the third rail. You can see there's no change whatsoever. It keeps the vertical alignment perfectly. Just a little bit of imprecision horizontally because of the rounding errors, like you said. But vertically, there's no change whatsoever. Even though this has the same horizontal and vertical alignment as the tracks paralleling it. On the spline points, I've checked the numbers, they're all the same. There you go. So the only explanation I had was that going in the procedural junction somehow messes with the vertical alignment of the tracks going into it. Whether that's a deliberate smoothing or whether it's maybe some sort of a new rounding error that's introduced, I don't know. But yeah, because of that, I've had to basically put all of these into tiny little sections. Anyway, yep, that's insane. Interesting. Maybe latest service pack fixed it, Paradise? I doubt it. I'm running this on service pack 4, so the second to latest. I decided to build this exact thing in my game. Oh? I do not have this issue. Well, I mean, maybe it has something to do with the exact length of the splines. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that cost me a couple of hours to figure out the issue, because I spent like half an hour or something, well, not half an hour, like 20 minutes or something, trying to align it because I thought that it had to work, and then another however long it took me to align it in the little bits. But anyway, so I put all the third rail along here, and then I also put third rail along this approach into the station, so all the way along here, on the junction down here. I did not put it on these lines yet because I haven't done the scenery there yet. But yeah, so along here, underneath there as well, then over here, and then all of these different tracks here are now also all electrified, going into here. And I also decided to add in like a little switcher shunting shed or carriage cleaning shed or something, because this space just, yeah, it didn't look great having it just empty. And I looked at, yeah, I thought that if they've already got all this empty space, this fits in quite nicely. And then I've got the tracks like this with a water tower where it merges onto both sides. And with a track layout like this, it can't reach everything. However, if there were another connection there, then it could easily reach all of the different things. And so they just changed the layout a little bit since the days of Steam. Anyway, I wanted to ask if you could try using Classic Surveyor to set the height, given the fact that Surveyor 2.0 seems to not actually fixate the spline points on the height properly. But that's not the issue though, because on the actual spline points, like when the train is on the spline points, the height is perfectly fine. It's just as the train goes onto that downward sloping curve, it gets misaligned, and then when it gets to the end, it gets perfectly aligned again. So on all of the spline points, it's perfectly fine. It's just between them that's the issue, which is what led me to think that it has something to do with the junctions. Yeah. Anyway, go put a beer class 13 in there, switch shed. Yeah, probably could. Right, so yeah, I mean, this is still a work in progress down here because, again, scenery missing and stuff, but it does look a lot better now with the electrification in, which this bit was also another bit that had to be, actually, was it this bit or, no, it wasn't this bit, it was a different bit. Some of these bits had to have been, oh yeah, like this one, you can see how many different spline points I had to put in for this curve to align properly, especially since it is an S-bend. Those have issues sometimes. Right, we've got 37 minutes left. Where's the airport going to go? If I have an airport, which I don't know, it might go up here where the cargo terminus is, if I have one. But if I do, then it's probably going to be a little bit further away and quite bare bones. Just maybe a very basic runway, some taxiways, a conning tower, and that's pretty much all that is. Because I know how long it takes to make an actual airport, because I know how long it took Eagle to do that, and I don't have the expertise nor time to do that. So if I put one in, it's going to go over there, and it's going to be quite bare bones, which incidentally over there is also where I might put in that high-speed thing, like the Eurostar high-speed thingy, with like just going past the station where there's an interchange with the network. If I put it in, it'll go over there as well. If I do. Airport me? Argentina Mini. I can make Gatwick or Heathrow. Southend. Yeah, well, we'll see how things get on. Well, how I get on with things. LAX or LAX. Yeah. So that is that's 2 of 3 parts of stuff that I've done since the last stream, which was a while ago. Also, it did take quite a while to do this section here, because also another thing with the spline is that takes a while is on the end bits. So the way that I do that, actually I'll just show you my workflow on that, because it might be quite helpful if anybody else is doing something like this. I'll read chat in a little bit, because this is this is the fastest way that I found to do this. So say I've got a long stretch there, put the train down, and then say I've got a stretch of third rail spline. I'll just quickly align it. So, yeah, this sometimes doesn't work great in Classic, but in Server 2.0 you can actually select the spline point and then move it over. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but something like that. And then over here as well. Move that over like that. So we've got our nice aligned bit of third rail. Now say that I want this third rail to end here. Now there has to be a little downwards grade so that the pickup shoe actually collides with it and gets pushed up slightly to have not just crash into the end of it. Thank you, Eagle, for the heads up about that. So the way I found of doing it is in Server 2.0, you click on the spline, then again, if you hold right click to move the camera, it changes where the selection point is of the spline. So then if I move it as close to the other one as possible without it snapping to the middle of the spline, so right around there, well, like right there, I'll add a spline point there. Then I'll make sure that this section, I'll make sure that this section is straightened. So in this case, this one's straightened. This one too. But that's actually a fixed distance, because that, if you zoom in all the way, that is a fixed distance. Then if you add another spline point in the middle between those, make sure the last one isn't straightened, but the one in the middle is. And then if you go into the first person camera, select that spline point, and then just move it down slightly. Actually, I usually go down by about -0.1 like that. Or maybe a little bit less than that. It depends on the situation. But yeah, and then we've got that end cap there. And so that's the process that I did for each and every single time that a spline, like a third rail spline ends. Like all over here, all of these, all of them, yeah. Anyway, chat. If you want an airport, leave it for me, lol. Maybe, we'll see. Thank you for the kind offer. I might take you up on it. We'll see how development goes and if it's needed. Siemens Germany 2 now, let's not forget. Oh yes, though I'm not sure if you streamed its construction. I didn't. Oh yeah. I'm a fan of S2. S2? What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean by S2. Like S-Bahn number 2? I missed heads up for what? Heads up for the ends of the third rails having to be kind of curved down a bit so that the brake, well, not the brake shoe, the electricity third rail pickup shoe doesn't just crash in the end, but actually gets gently pushed up onto the rail as it gets picked up. And I actually also saw on some cab ride videos some very interesting bits in the junctions where, actually, where would a thing like that be? Like where it comes in on the other junction. I'll just, you've got this special mechanism on there. So instead of there being a gap, and it's starting there, so you'd have one rail going there and the other going there, it basically had a thing sort of like that, where the rail did actually go into the other one, but one bit of it was lowered, so it was something like that, sort of, where it kind of came in and got picked up on that lowered bit, but then got pushed up onto where the other rail is, so that this one could continue on. It was, yeah, something like that, where there actually wasn't a gap between them. It was on a Waterloo cab ride, I saw that. But that's just way too time consuming to reproduce on the route, so I've just got gaps everywhere. Third rail having end bit curved down. Alright. Not just ending. Ah, yes, that. S2 menu is... Surveyor 2. S2 menu is clunky, but Gizmo is great. Yeah, some of the bits here are clunky. Although, I mean, some bits are really, really nice. Like the ability to just select any spline point and selecting it exactly. Like, for example, here, just selecting that spline point and modifying it is so much easier in Surveyor 2.0 than in Classic, where especially if you've got limit contextual information turned off, you've got this, and then selecting the exact one and moving that, or over here, selecting the exact one and moving that. Yeah, that's a huge thing. Also, the gizmo is great. Being able to type in coordinates is a great thing. Being able to select multiple assets and turn or move them is a great thing as well. Ooh, although here's another little warning that I found, which is, if you clone an object in Surveyor 2.0, it rounds the coordinates more than it should. Like, for example, I'm not sure if this is actually going to work right, but if, say I've got that there, and then if I clone that, move it over, so that it is just about aligned there with a tiny little gap. Oh, actually, it might not work with splines. It might only be objects. And then, yeah, hold on. That's not ideal. Where was the other thing? Hold on. I was gonna... Yeah, I know that it's definitely a thing with the rotation of objects. let me quickly get because I really noticed it. Oh, here's another good feature, the ability to filter the selection, not just objects like this, like filtering, because now that I've set it to filter objects, it won't allow me to select objects like other things. But even if, like for example here, I can now select this object or that object or that object, but if I type in the search, like roof, now I can't select these objects anymore. Now I can only select objects that have roof in their name. That's really nice. Now, hold on, where was the other thing I wanted to get the platform, hold on. Over here, I think I used it. Yeah. So, oh no, that's the wrong one. I need, where did I use it? It was somewhere over here. This one? Yeah, this one. There we go. I'll just select the 300 meter one for clarity. So let's just say I've got that, and then I want to put a station on here. So now I want to align the station with the track that I've already got. I could try to rotate it like this, but that's really fiddly, and it won't align exactly on either end. But I can type in the rotation. So if I now just type in a rotation, like 0.215 or something like that, it's lined there. Is that in the middle? Not exactly. If I move it exactly into the middle, like that, and then change the rotation a bit again, just 0.205. That aligns it perfectly here as well. And up here, it is also pretty much perfectly aligned. Now if I take if I want it to be two tracks, so I've got the track here, and then I want it to be aligned on the paralleling track. But yeah, with splines it does work, right? Like with splines they do generally work as intended. But yeah, if I just move the station over without cloning it, if I just move it over, then you can see that it is still perfectly aligned. However, if I now clone it by holding Control and moving it over, you can see how misaligned it is now, even though I've precisely set the rotation and then I just cloned it, but in that cloning it rounds off the rotation, because if I click on the first station I made, the rotation down here is 108. It says 2, but it's actually 108.205 degrees. On the cloned object, it rounded it down to 108 degrees. So that's another little pitfall that you can avoid if you know about it. Right. But yeah, those are really nice things about Surveyor 2.0, but there are some flaws with it as well that I have already voiced in the past. I don't want to rehash that. But overall, I find myself doing most of the work in Surveyor 2.0 and occasionally switching over to Classic. The main reason why I switch over to Classic is the plateau tool. Yeah, because just being able to use these dials with a plateau tool and it actually working where it sets the height exactly to the point you click, not the median of the area, with a gradient tool, the grade tool, that's so useful, and that feature is just lacking. So I find myself just quickly going over to Surveyor 2.0 where I've got the dials just to do it quickly, as opposed to over here where I'd have to go here, select the correct thing, then select the grade thing, then go over onto here, get the height, and put it in, or click and drag from the point, but having to go in here, type the number, this is just much slower for that purpose, for that specific purpose. But also, of course, the scrapbook is really, really good. Like that, I use that all the time, and of course it does need some manual adjustments in most cases for it to actually look good, but like for filling in like a ground pattern, it's really good, or for hedges and forests and stuff like that. Of course, especially since you can change the scale, which changes the density of it. So I can actually have less dense forest in the middle and more dense forest elsewhere. Like here, for example, got a little strip of dense forest around there, and then less dense forest in the middle. Right. S2.0, all right. Shutters. Wait till release Survey 2.1. Oh, the third rail splines could be used for miniature monorails, perhaps. Do you by chance have the video? Ha, found it. What video do you mean, sorry? I'm not just confused by what you mean. Put sandman back. Not I. Ah, good. At least on the video I found, it's not another rail. It is simply a shoe protector to make sure the shoe goes up onto the rail at the junction rather than caught on the side and rip itself off. No, oh, right, the Waterloo one. Hold on, let me find if I can... let's see if I can find the... It might have just been this one? Question mark. Ooh, ad. No, we're not sponsored by whatever this is. Hold on. Oh, it's one that I can't skip even. Oh, well. It might have been this. Let's see if I can find a specific spot of the instance of this. Yeah, like here. Well, right in the beginning. So I'll quickly switch screens to full screen so I can show you. So here, you can see here on the junction, you've got the third rail there, and then you've got here, instead of the third rail ending there and then having this big gap before it continues on the straight section, you've got this kind of shoe pickup on the side there that brings the shoe up and then joins in on the rail that actually goes along the curve in the junction. So there's no gap here. That's what I meant. There might be another instance somewhere back here. Like I saw a few of them. Yeah, over here as well. You can see here there's that long third rail section coming in here. And then here you've got that other little section going up to pick up the shoe from the other track, instead of there being a gap where the third rail ends and then picks back up over here. Yeah. There might have been a better... Oh yeah, like right there. You can see even here, there's just a little, instead of the third rail ending back here to allow the shoe just to pass through the air, the third rail continues and has this little pickup to pick up the shoe and bring it up onto the third rail, only to drop it right after. Like that little side section, and that's what I meant. By the way, this is the video, so... Right. Well, I never knew about the section search limit thing. Yeah. Wow, that filter I had no idea about. Useful. It is really useful. It is. Also, the visibility is useful, though be careful with that, because that only shows the assets that you've got filtered for on here. But sometimes if you change it back to list, the assets don't all reappear, and you've got to exit out and go back in for it to actually load all the assets properly. They're all still there, but it just can be a little frightening when some assets don't load in again. Right. Disgraceful. To align a station asset, cut a hole into the track you want to have the station, then use the move tool on the station until it automatically snaps to the track. Yeah, I know about that, but sometimes when I'm just trying to figure out alignments without actually having it connected to the track, it's a bit easier to differentiate like that. Flughafen. Maybe just place the station, maybe just place the control tower, yeah. It's a very classic you meant. Alright. Imagine watching ads in 2024. Yeah, I mean, watching ads is... Nobody would do anything like that. Also, yeah, out now. If you want to buy the Root DLC, it's been out for a while, but if you want to buy it, then it's available on Steam or on the Trainz store. Yeah, but yeah, I agree about ads. Disgraceful. Reach out during ad bird hour. No. Ooh, 455 and 450. I need not imagine, my friend. What you passed on is the exact thing I mentioned. Oh, you found the same video. There's another one right there. Yes, we do have those. We have these. They are part of the underground set on the DL list. Oh, so what do you say about them? It's not another rail. It's simply a shoe protector to make sure the shoe goes up onto the rail at the junction. Well, yeah, that's what I meant. So they have those. So where's a good example? Yeah, like here with this, if this were a junction, instead of having the rail end here and it just being air, it goes over and then connects up on there, picking up the shoe going onto it. Clever. But they are rather big and clunky to use. Yeah. Oh, bot. Wait, has the bot already been banned? No. Where's the... Oh, it has already been banned. Oh, there we go. Now you can watch the trailer yourself if you want to rewatch it. Right, so all the third rail stuff is what I did, and then let someone else try first. No, and then I started doing some more track layout and terraforming for the next section, which actually begins over here by Fancy Dam Bridge. And so it goes along the canal here, which I may change this a little bit if it becomes a bit boring, but I think that this section is good, especially since the speed limit's 75 miles per hour here. Right, so then I've got this little station over here, which I quite like. Also in the curve. That's something I did on this route that I usually never did in the past, which is have stations in curves, but it actually adds quite a lot. Right, and then gradual increase going over the river, which this is going to be a kind of marshland over here where the actual main city will have already ended back there. And this is actually the same river that connects over to this river. We've already got a little bit of wetland there. Anyway, so yeah, bridge going over, then it goes down gradually and connects into this main line here, where about this junction, with the two tracks merging into the same line and then crossing over, is something that I only very rarely see. And actually, I first saw this on an episode, on some episodes of Thomas the Tank Engine, the old model series, like where Edward's mainline junction is into the actual mainline. And yeah, it's like it gets the job done without needing a diamond. So yeah, I decided to replicate that over here as well. And here is a junction as well where it goes into this station, which I've forgotten the name of. It was, all right, Adelbury. We've got this little platform here. Then you've got the main through platforms in the middle. And then you've got another little platform on this side. Yes, Adelbury, yes. So this is the platform layout, which is quite unique on the station so far. And then you've also got this little siding from way back when. So Adelbury is going to be another sort of separate town, which I might have primarily off, like just in the distance here, instead of having a lot around the tracks, or maybe over on this side. Anyway, right, and then I'll have a level crossing here, and then the tracks continue off this way. Now here's where it switches to the old tracks, which have the wooden sleepers as opposed to the concrete. Oh, also, this platform over here will not be electrified because that's the ending of one of the diesel lines that I've got. This one will be electrified along with the main line, of course. Right, so this goes off here. I've not done any terraforming on this bit yet, but over here I have. Well, it's not complete, but I have. So here we've still got some old semaphores with a branch signal. And then here the speed limit here the speed limit is 55. On the branch on the left it goes to 30. So the actual line, the main line, goes this way. I might do a bit more terraforming here to add like another cutting or something like that. Anyway, this goes through here under this. All still heavily work in progress, of course. Cuts through here, and I've made sure to use a dark rock texture to match the big rock asset up there, which we'll get to in a moment. Right, then the line joins again, and then carries on like this, with quite a nice view that we'll get to in a moment. Through a little woodland, over a little work in progress crossing, and then this is where we get our great view of the valley below, where there's another little river down there. And so that goes along here. And yes, I know that the actual boundary would be up on top of the cutting, not down there. But I might change it, but I'm still experimenting with which looks better here. Right, yeah, so we've got this beautiful view down there with the tracks hugging the edge of the hill. I'll rechat in a moment. And then this continues up over along here and connects to the top platforms of Benswood Junction, where the main line that I did before, that I made before, connects down here. And so this connects up here. And then it, of course, transitions to the single track diesel line that goes down via Hepperswaith down there, which I'm still really happy with how this line turned out. But anyway, that's old. This is the new bit that I've been working on. Going the other way, this is what it looks like. So you've already got this beautiful view. Curves along with the hill falling beside it. Goes through here, past the junction, through the cutting, under the bridge, and then joins the rest of the stuff back there. Now, the junction here that goes left originally wasn't... Actually, I'll read chat first. Exeter Thomas S. St. Thomas S. Yeah. Elsbridge? Maybe. It was near there. It was where it wasn't, but the junction wasn't at a station, but it was where Edward's line merged onto the main line. It was a little bit after / before the station. Needs JVC planters. Yeah. I'll do platform furniture in a pass later. Sure it is. Where it transitions from concrete to wood sleepers, maybe it'd be good to have the transition be staggered? I did think about that as well, but because we've got the junction here, those sleepers go all the way through. So in my thinking, when they chose to replace the junction with concrete, they did it like as one section. So that's my thinking there, which does mean that they are in the process of upgrading this, because otherwise there wouldn't be any point in making concrete sleepers go past the station at all. But yeah, so not perfectly satisfied. The valley below. That's Bob Dylan, it? I don't know. It's lovely. It really does. Love this route so much. Oh, thanks you. Thanks you. Love it. Aw. The way everything fits together, it's so good. Yeah, well, it took a lot of... It is taking a lot of planning and thought and consideration. I'm gonna drop off now, too tired to continue, and gotta wake up in 5 hours. See ya, good night. Okay, well, thanks for stopping by. It was lovely having you. Bye-bye if you're not already gone. Bye-bye. Yes, I'm sleeping soon. Yeah, well, the stream will be over soon. Good night. So far, yes, a little sleep. Hope you sleep well. Right. There's only really one other bit that I wanted to show that I have to show. That I have to show, not that I have to show. Which is this branch on the left, which originally wasn't in my plan, but at the moment the plan is to have two non-electric routes, two diesel routes, which is it's one that starts over here on the electric line. Well, actually, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. It starts over here, where there will be another little village. It'll go along here into Bramble Cross, so this will be diesel, going into Bramble Cross, and then it goes onto the third rail line, follows the third rail line via Eisenbridge, which most third rail trains won't stop at, even though it is electrified. Although I might actually remove the electrification on these. We'll see. Then it goes to Sorbmouth, and then it goes onto the non-electrified tracks over here. Goes underneath there, which I've already showed in previous stream, past this station, and then over here in London. So that's got quite a few non-electrified stations on it, even though for most of the route it does share with third rail. That's just the nature of the route. But it's got quite a few stations on here that aren't electrified to kind of justify having a diesel run there. The other diesel line starts here at Oscombe Town, because over here you've got the Y coming in, so trains can enter and exit in both directions here, although I'll need another signal there, I think. Actually, I might as well... No, I won't do that yet. Although, hold on. Bear with me. I'll be done soon. I'll put a little shunt signal there. Right, so so the other diesel line starts here, which of course is electrified, and it's all electrified all the way up to this junction. Then it branches off, goes over the non-electrified, past the little town of Hepperswaith, then goes up here, stops here at Lord Ben's diversion, which is more of a request stop sort of thing, even though it is near the town down there, it is still quite a way to walk up here, so this is more of a request stop sort of thing. And then it connects up with Benswood Junction. So this diesel line would only really have one, well, kind of 1.5, maybe 1.25 stations. that are basically just one station that is not electrified. And so from here, all of this is running the same stuff as the third rail trains do, and then connecting over here. So it's literally just that tiny little bit that's not. And so that was just not enough. So what I decided to do is add a little kind of loop or alternate route that's not electrified over here with the station, so that the diesel trains have that to run as well. And then the diesel trains end over here in Adelbury on this little platform. So now I'll just quickly show you that, and then we'll end the stream. So it branches off here, and the lore I've got for this is that this is the original line that was built, which goes past where Benswood Junction is and goes past Hepperswaite. That's the original line. But then when the main line got built that goes under Benswood Junction station, they wanted to have this as a connection with the mainline trains there as well, so that they've got that connection. So then they decided that they would like to double track that, but because of a tunnel that's back there, that wasn't feasible. And so they decide also sharp curves on this that just slows down things way too much. So then they decided to just add a new line that goes straight through here, and that's double tracked, and that's the main connection, leaving this other line for the diesels to run. So this goes over here. I still need to do terraforming here, but yeah, this hugs this hill and then goes over here to Hex Tor. So lovely little single track station, and yeah, there'll be a little town down here, maybe also a little bit up here, and that is called Hex. Yeah, Hex Tor is one word, and this is the Tor up here with a little church. This probably used to be a pagan holy site first, but then somebody decided that actually no, Christianity needs to take over this holy site, and so they built a little chapel on here. So yeah, anyway, also yes, it is east-west aligned, so yeah. Also there's an old mill here where they were making something, I don't know what exactly, maybe a brewery or something, maybe with a local spring, or maybe I'll add a little quarry over here somewhere. But anyway, there was an industry here, which is what first drew the railway line up here. And then it got a tunnel cut through here, so that it's got connections with some of the port towns over there and the rest of the lines back there. And then, of course, later the cutting got made. So if things happen in that order, then it makes financial sense to build a tunnel through here. so that's the way it has to have happened. Right, so yeah, then it goes into the tunnel. I haven't added the terrain coverings for this yet. Comes out of the tunnel here, connects back up to the main line, and this is where I've been working so far. Also, there are little fords down here for the little roads. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I've been working on. So now I'll read chat. And then that'll be the stream. No, keep third rails in Eisenbridge. Some rare workings may still stop there. I know, but it might be better without them. Because with this being the main line, and these platforms being quite short, and this being such a small village, it would add more uniqueness for the diesel line to stop here. Because otherwise the diesel line will go all the way from basically there, all the way along this line, all the way to there, this entire stretch, without having any unique stops specifically for diesels. Yeah, it can stop at Midswitch, yeah, it can stop at Eisenbridge, but if Eisenbridge didn't have the electrification on here, then you'd have something more special for the diesel. Like imagine you're running a third rail session and you keep, and like a few third rail sessions and you keep barreling through here without stopping, but then you run the diesel session and suddenly you're diverted off and you get to stop here and you watch the third rail trains rush past. I think that might actually be an improvement in this area. In the station furniture pass, help points shall not be forgotten too. Yeah. Oh, could you have some spooky dusk session on the second diesel route where you let on a mysterious figure at Lord Ben's diversion request stop? Perhaps. To electrify that one small section is a part of the government plan for completion by 2065. Yes. Exeter Painting first, please, though. Hextor, yes. Müllgut. Ha. Mehlgut. Good, not Müll. Mühl, yeah. Absolutely love it. Lots of work done since last time. Really has to be said. Yeah, thank you for saying it. Saves me having to do it. I guess I would. That's a good point, yeah. Alright. Could be, yeah. Right. So, next time on Trainz live streaming, I'll probably have this whole area finished, at least up to here with Aylesbury, maybe even further up to the station, like that section maybe. We'll see. Anyway, thank you all for coming and watching. This will be archived on YouTube, of course. And I guess good night. So, oh yeah, that's when they will play. Yeah. Anyway, bye-bye everybody. Good night. Good night. It's good to have the proper mic quality with having the microphone closer to me. It's very nice. Bye-bye.